I'm going to be introducing you now to our first speakers. We always start off with a talk from Ask Phill ourselves. And this time around, it's our co-founder Martijn Wijsmuller, together with Tico from Beurden. Tico is our head of tech. And they're going to be talking about our work for the Nike and Corteiz collaboration. I really love this story, and I hope you will as well. So, yeah, I want to welcome Martijn and Tico on stage.
So, good morning. Can everyone hear me in the back? Nice. Indeed, the view is clearing up a bit. Hopefully we can see Amsterdam at the end of the day. I'm, as my partner Paul would say, fucking excited today to have you all here. It's going to be a great day, as you heard already in the introduction from Rens. We have a lot of interesting topics today. And yeah, it's great to see you here. Thanks for being here. So I'm here today with Tico. For the ones who don't know him yet, he's the head of tech at Ask Phill. My name is Martijn, and I'm one of the co-founders. And for the ones who don't know Ask Phill yet, we're a direct-to-consumer e-commerce agency collaborating with fashion, lifestyle, and beauty brands throughout Europe. And we're with a team of around 60 people. Our office is just across the water in one of the historical buildings of Amsterdam. So even if you haven't been there yet, pop by for a coffee anytime. And today we're going to talk about something pretty interesting, I think. We'll start with an introduction about the talk. We'll tell you a bit more about the brand itself. We're going to tell you a bit more about the collaboration between the two brands. We're going to tell you more about the drop. For the ones who don't know the concept of a drop yet, you'll get to know what a drop is. And we'll share some takeaways to inspire you and see how you could utilize the insights of today for your own company and yeah, to help the brand grow. So, I always say it's better goed gestolen dan slecht bedacht. It's better to steal something good than come up with something shit yourself. So the theme of the conference is people buy stories, not products. And it also exactly encompasses what we are going to tell today. We believe at Ask Phill that it's all about the story behind your brand. It's about trying to create a pull towards your brand instead of having to push your product always to become a sustainable brand and to successfully, yeah, grow your business. And today we're going to talk about the brand of which I didn't know they would exist. It's a brand which sells yeah, tens of millions of euros in products without spending a single dollar on advertising. And that's quite impressive. To be honest, we haven't seen this yet, that there's a brand without online marketing being such successful. It's not even a funded company. It was started in a bedroom a couple of years ago. And I think we can learn a lot of a disruptor brand like this. I think nowadays some of the biggest brands around the globe don't look at what the biggest brands in the world do. They actually look what the most disruptive brands do. And I think this is a brand I never heard of before. And it's quite funny because I got a call from Nike. It was the first time I got a call from Nike. I answered the phone. I was like, "Hi, it's Martijn. Hi, it's Nike. We need your help. We heard you handle some of the high volume drops. You have some experience with other brands, and we need to make sure that this drop, a collaboration between Nike and Corteiz, was going to happen without any issues." So for the ones who don't know the concept of a high volume drop, it's essentially a brand who it's either a collaboration or their own product, limited supply of the actual product, and a lot of people want to buy it at the same time. So that would result in very high amounts of traffic on the website, the risk of overloading your website depending on the platform you are on. You don't want bots to buy the product, so there are actually small computers trying to buy these products because the moment you buy them, most likely the value is higher on the secondary market afterwards. So there's a whole industry in people buying these drops and then reselling it for more. So they needed some help. And I couldn't hear what the guy was saying on the phone. Corteiz, I never heard of the brand. I was like, what is this? So while with him on the phone, I was trying to Google it. I didn't know how to write the brand. I found some shady Instagram pages which were blocked, so I couldn't even see what was on it, but there were hundreds of people liking it. So I thought, okay, let's try to get in. And the same for the website. Trying to look up the website, a black page with a password. You can leave your email address, and then maybe one day after time, they will open the store for you to buy the products. So that's what I did, and I found out it's actually quite a smart way of looking and growing your own marketing channels. Because nowadays, with the advertising prices going up and the cost of acquisition, a big focus should be how can you grow your own marketing channels, like email marketing. So then I did, and in preparation for the first meeting with the team of Corteiz, Tico and me were preparing. We asked access to the store, and we landed on a page like this. For us, it was one of the most ugliest landing pages we've ever seen. The color scheme doesn't match up. We're like, what is this? And the Nike team told us, do whatever you need to make it a success. So the first thing we thought, let's do a redesign, let's do a rebuild, let's optimize for speed, let's ensure we have the right tricks in the platform so we can handle these high volume drops. So we prepared, we had the call, we planned the call 4 times. The first 3 times the owner didn't show up. So his name is Clint. He's a real legend in my opinion, and he missed the meeting or he was on the go. And the 4th time we met him, he was on his phone on the road talking to us, and he was the only guy in the call. And great to meet you. And we explained what we would do for him to make this a success. So we started telling. He was like, I like it. Yeah, I like fast websites. And I was like, I don't care what you guys do, but I want to keep the design the same. I want to be able to operate my store from my phone. So he uses the Shopify app to actually operate his whole store. And furthermore, you can do anything you want. We were quite shocked that we found out that the guy didn't have like a computer to operate his store. So everything is done from his mobile phone. He's also still on MailChimp, which has some challenges when sending out emails to hundreds of thousands of people. So we also explained that maybe Klaviyo is a nice option. Does it have a mobile app? No, not yet. Okay, then I stay with MailChimp. I don't care. So it was quite interesting to see that the new generation of brands has a whole mobile-focused approach also for operating their stores. But then during the meeting, we had a good click, and he agreed that we would help him to optimize his store and prepare it for the collaboration which was coming up. So in 2018, Clint, that's the name of the owner and the founder, started his business from his bedroom. And the nice part was it was not an influencer yet. It's no athlete. It's no rapper. I don't know. He didn't have a huge following when he started, and he started making pretty simple tracksuits with the print of Alcatraz Island in San Francisco as his brand. And now in 2023, he's like a global recognized streetwear brand. having his first collaboration with Nike, which is pretty nice one to have a first collaboration with. And his tagline is also "Rules the World." So it's Corteiz rules the world. And then you might be asking, like, how does he do it? What's the magic? And it's quite interesting magic. He's a big fan of Twitter, so all his followers follow him on Twitter. He has Instagram, all the other channels, obviously. I don't think he used TikTok yet, but maybe in the future. But what he does is he announces an offline event. In this case, he was dropping a new cargo tracksuit, and he said, like, you can get a pair for 99 cents. The only thing you need to do is to come to this location in London, and I'll have them stacked up for you. So this resulted in total mayhem. You can see on the right, kids running to that spot. But the fun thing is he also liked to play with his followers. So the moment everyone is there for the actual offline drop, he would tweet another coordinate, and then this group of people would run the streets in London, getting a lot of attention from people making videos, say like, oh, Corteiz is doing something again. And I think this is one of the fundamental different approaches, what I've seen with this brand to others. So creating a kind of offline guerrilla type marketing hype, which is filmed by others, shared on socials, and it just spreads as an oil fleck, oil stain. That's quite interesting. So he utilizes the offline hype, sells some products offline to really fuel that online sales. But the collaboration with him and Nike was not something which was something expected. So Corteiz sounds quite familiar to the Nike shoe, the Corteiz one. So a couple of years back, Clint and Corteiz were dragged into the courtrooms by Nike, and finally they settled. So no hard feelings there anymore. And then a couple of months back, Clint posted this picture. It's in the center of London, in front of the flagship store of Nike, with the Nike and his own brand projected on the front of the building, but without a caption. So nobody knew what was happening. Was he going to raid the store? Was he going to fight them? Didn't look that happy. Maybe something hard feelings from the courtroom. But that also ignited a lot of rumors online. People were posting, what is this? Is this guy going to collaborate? And then finally he broke the news and said, like, okay, it's my first big collaboration. We're gonna drop a new type, or we're gonna drop a shoe. And quite a famous shoe from the 90s is the Air Max 95. I think now also with the movement to the more 90s kind of fashion, it really fits in well. 3 colorways, so green, black, and blue. And for all of these, he had separate offline campaigns before he would drop them online. And it was in a time span of a couple of weeks. We just cut out a small part of the video when he announced like the first green drop, just to give you a feeling of the type of videos and art direction they use when they work with the brand like Nike.
Can you stop calling me, please? Wait, I don't think you understand. I cannot help you, like, at all.
I don't know about you, but I got mine. Corteiz rules the world.
So it's quite a nice way to tell more about your brand without actually telling about it. It radiates some kind of, I don't care what you think about me. We don't pick up the phone if you have questions. I think they also don't even do returns officially. It's kind of a badass vibe. It's really cool how he does it. But for this drop, he took it globally. So with the 3 colorways, he decided, I want to drop in London, I want to drop in New York, and I want to drop in Paris, and make it something big. So in London, what he did, he actually got one of the most famous soccer players from Real Madrid to announce a crossbar challenge. The concept was simple. Fans needed to go to a soccer pitch in London, and from a certain distance, they needed to hit the top part of the goal. And if they would hit it, they would get a free pair of shoes before anyone online would get it. Thousands of people were there to try it. And the earlier you were, the bigger the chance. You could shoot once and then get back in line. So it was a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the shoes first. And you see all of the content. So only the soccer player on the left is their own content. The rest is all content made by fans and followers and shared on socials. Then in New York, he did something also very interesting. He dropped the locations. Thousands of people came to a big square in Manhattan and were waiting like, where's this pop-up? They didn't know what was going to happen. And then suddenly one of the billboards turned black and got some new coordinates, but that resulted in a total mayhem. You see people running the streets. It's the middle lane. You can see they're just running, trying to get to the new location first to ensure they could buy the shoes earlier than the others online. And then the last one was in Paris. Also an interesting one. He said, you have to come to Place de la République, the center of Paris, and you have to wait for the bus. And then they rented a city bus with the coordinates on the side. But the fun thing was that at start, nobody knew what they had to do with the bus. So they started following the bus throughout Paris. Some people climbed the bus. They thought that was the assignment, as you can see on the top right. And afterwards, people found out, oh, that coordinates are somewhere different. Let's look up where they are and make sure we get there first. And they would end up at a warehouse being able to buy the shoes. So as you can see, this is, I think, quite a different way of doing marketing than most of the brands here in the room. I won't say it fits all the brands, but it's definitely a way of rethinking your structure, of utilizing network effects and social media to create hype for your brand. And not only for your brand, so these offline sales were also very limited, and then it fueled their online sales. So that's where we came in and where Tico led the project.
Yes. So now it becomes a little bit more technical, so I will take over from Martijn. So after creating all the hype online and generating all the content on TikTok and Twitter and Reddit and people posting all those things, it's of course time to push the volume, and that's what happened online, because online you can make the most sales. So for every colorway, we did 3 releases. So on Wednesday, we did the friends and family release for people that knew the brand or knew the people that work for the brand personally. The second release was an early access, which was the idea from Clint to make sure that early adapters of the brand were able to purchase the shoe. Because, of course, we were expecting a lot of people trying to buy the shoe and also a lot of people missing out. You really wanted to make sure that the early fans, or the diehard fans and early adapters were able to purchase. And the third release was on Friday, was the real drop. And that's when everyone in the world could try to order a pair. So for the friends and family release, we used the app called Matrixify. If you use Shopify, you might be familiar with it. You can import and export products and collections and other data in your store. But we used it to generate draft orders. So basically, Clint just created a Google form and sent it out to his friends and to his family, and everyone could enter their email address and their shoe size. The only problem with the first release was that the input was just a regular text input, so anyone could input the shoe size that they want. So we had UK sizes, US sizes, European sizes, and we had to manually transfer that to the right format to import it to Shopify. this was quite interesting because, of course, this guy has, I think, close to 1 million followers on Instagram. So in that list of people, we saw NBA players, we saw English rappers, so like really famous people. And I was personally transferring that data to the right format. So luckily, I didn't get any complaints, so I think it went all right. But yeah, I think it was an interesting release. The second part was the early access. So like I said, it was Clint's idea to make sure that the diehard fans of the brand could get an early access and opportunity to buy the shoes. So we handled this whole release natively on Shopify. So we used Shopify's customer segment, created a Shopify script, Shopify email app, and a Shopify flow. And I will highlight this flow a little bit more on how we did this. So I'm not sure if everyone can see, but from the backend in Shopify, you have all your customer data, and you can basically filter this data. So what we did, together with him, we set up some properties to make sure, okay, which people do you want to have early access? So in this case, it's everyone that subscribed to the newsletter, has placed an order before the end of 2020, so when the brand was like respectfully smaller, and also placed an order in the last 12 months. So we know that they are still active supporters of the brand. So with this segment, we then created with Shopify email. We targeted them, and then we sent an email 1 hour before the real release to these people, like, hey, this is the password to the page. Because you're a day one supporter, you can purchase a product. Of course, we knew that once this email was sent out, people would start sharing this on Twitter and on Reddit and TikTok, etc. So we directly saw a high spike in the amount of visitors. And this is where we came in and where I was most nervous for, because when this password is shared, basically anyone, if our code would not work, would be able to buy the product. So we created the Shopify script, which basically on the server side makes sure that only people logged into their account and are part of this customer segment were able to purchase the shoe. And then we saw the people coming in, we saw a high spike, we saw people trying to add the product to cart, but luckily the script worked, and it was really funny to just myself looking at all the orders coming in and comparing the segment, comparing the customer names to make sure that it was really working. But then, people purchase a product, and then we also had to make sure that people would not buy the product again, because if someone buys a product again, they will probably resell it, and that's the whole idea of this thing was we don't want people to resell it, we want people to buy the shoe and wear it themselves. So for that, we created Shopify Flow. It's a super simple app that you can install. There's no coding needed, so Martijn can even do it. So basically, you create a trigger, and then you can create an action that follows up on that. So in this case, if an order is created and it's the Nike product, then remove the tag from the customers, which takes them out of the segment, which makes sure that they cannot purchase it again. And the good thing is that everything of this is handled on the server, so not on the client. So it's even bot-proof, etc. And then it was time for the real drop. So we were expecting high amount of people trying to buy this product, the tens of thousands, Clint said, for the first, before we went live. And the idea was on Friday at 7 p.m. to go live. So for the 3 different colorways, it was set to go live on 7, and I think all 3 times we did not go live on 7. The first time, I think it was 5 minutes past 7, me, Martijn, Clint, and some Shopify success manager from England. We're all on the call together, and then Clint realized that from Nike he was not allowed to ship to certain African countries, but he didn't quite agree with that. So we went into the Shopify backend and changed all the zones so he could sell the product also to the African countries. The second time, he only wanted to go live when there was a certain amount of visitors on the site. So he said, I'm not going live before there's 100,000 live visitors. So he was just on Instagram, like Martijn said earlier, and on Twitter, just messing around with his fan base, like, oh, I'm only going live if you retweet a couple more times. He was on the toilet posting pictures of him wearing the shoes 10 minutes past the deadline. And it was really interesting to see, because we create this whole playbook, and we are, when we work with brands, the playbook is like, this is what you follow, and the minutes are like those you want to follow. But for them, it didn't really care. It's like, okay, I'll go live when I want to go live. And that was really interesting to see. And then we went live. So here are some numbers. So at the end, we had close to 100,000 live visitors, 50,000 active carts. You can see the big spike in people visiting the store, and below you see a small video of the orders coming in. What's interesting about this is like we are, of course, Shopify Plus partner, so we only work with Shopify. And when I'm in the talks to people trying to migrate to Shopify, they're always like asking, well, we're on this other platform, and how does Shopify handle when we have a couple thousand live visitors? Like, will the site stay online? And then we can always give this example that it will stay online with 100,000 live visitors, and the back end stayed online, the front end, there was no hiccups. So Shopify handled that, it's perfect. The second part was the active carts, because we had 50,000 active carts, but we did not have 50,000 products. So we had to make sure that we didn't oversell the products, and everyone that buys a product can get a product. And for this, we use Shopify's bot protection. So basically, if you're a Shopify Plus client, you can just enable bot protection from the back end. You can schedule this up front, and basically what Shopify does is, okay, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of bots are going to your site, so we will high up the server capacity to make sure everything stays online, and it creates this kind of digital queue. So you set a password, which again was really funny, that the password was not figured out before, but minutes before 7, we were in the meeting and they were brainstorming about the password. And then he was one time was like, make it Martijn rules the world. And it's like, the clients have to fill this in. Oh, okay, let's just do 111000. Okay, that's the password. And then the bot protection was the bot protection creates this digital queue. So 50,000 people can edit to cart, and when they click go to checkout, it will then create this queue, and everyone has to wait. And this takes a couple of minutes, and every second it will just let people through, and then they reserve this product for that particular customer, which is great because it makes sure that you don't oversell the products. The downside is that, of course, people have this product in their cart, and they are in the queue, and then all of a sudden they see products out of stock. And that created, of course, online some people saying, this is a scam and the bots won, etc. But we can say it didn't. It's just 50,000 cards, not enough products. And my personal favorite compliment was from that someone, like in the order process, placed a order note to thank Clint for having the bot protection, and giving a little note to the bots as well. So it says Clint's a real one, fuck the bots, which I took as a personal compliment. I was really happy to see that.
Nice, thanks, Tico. Yeah, so as we said, there are some takeaways, and I think you probably have noted some of the things by yourself. I think one first simple one is that the whole drop was done on Shopify, no custom coding on the front end. They were even on Shopify Basic, I found out just before the drop. I was like, you need to upgrade, otherwise you don't have the bot protection. And everything was used out of the box. Shopify email for the notifications, Shopify Flow. So this kind of proves that it doesn't matter how big your brand is. If you're on Shopify, you can sell crazy amount of stuff without having to have stress or upgrade any hosting. So that was the first takeaway. And then I think the second one is that your platform is merely a tool to sell your products. But you should really invest and think about your brand as the driver for your sales and your success. So think about how can you build the community which you have to become even more loyal visitors. And I think the basic is like, think how can you create a pool instead of having to push the products with marketing budgets. So thanks all for your attention. And if there are any questions, let me know.